You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We do not have any new callers, so let's get started with Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Hello.
Since Rico is calling out what position he wants to play, I figure, okay, here's my chance. So I played wide receiver in high school and also in a semi-pro flag football league, I played quarterback and wide receiver. So I'm calling wide receiver just because I am still pretty quick.
Well, I'm glad you guys hang on every word because it was nothing literal about that. We're not starting a football team, but feel free to call in and let me know where you'll be playing in this fictional football thing. Do we actually have to do this now? I don't know what's happening. Hello? Are you?
There you go.
Oh,
you're welcome.
What? Thank you.
All right, I'm back.
Okie doke.
I would say just because I'm just going to throw this out here. Since Uncle Rico is used to having fingers put down there, I think he ought to be playing center because he'll be used to you putting your hand up to his butt.
Yep. Got it.
So I think that's just a logical choice there. So just saying. I'll let everybody else call in and call out their position, but
Please, everybody.
Calling shotgun. I am calling out for wide receiver. So your passes better be on point.
I'll just say what I usually say in these moments, and that is that I'm not writing any of this down. I hope we're all aware of that. This is not being saved or recorded or logged, and don't buy any plane or bus tickets or anything to Wisconsin because we're not doing this. So, Garrett, part 2.
You know me, Ryan. I can't help myself but throw out an idea to you to perhaps once everybody picks their position, maybe you should have AI create I guess the best way to call it, just a game scenario where all of us are playing in a game in the positions and just have it create a football drama where, you know, we have plays and you hear guys you calling out the play and the announcers and all, and just see where that goes. I'd be real curious how that would turn out. So.
Well, I think it would turn out with me losing a ton of people that listen to the show. But outside of that, I don't know. I'm not sure what AI would come up with. Play, please. Oh my Lord, we're off to a rip-roaring start here with the frozen computer. Hold on.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Ryan, look it up. For everybody else, I'm sure we could say Goody's done some bad contracts, but nothing like what the New York Mets did.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, and I probably not going to look it up. TJ from Alabama, what's going on?
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama. Just got done listening to the pod on the memory, and our memory sucks and stuff like that. I'm sure that cup of tea is not for everybody, but I do find that stuff interesting. You know, kind of some of the stuff that I read, some of the documentaries and brain stuff that I watch, just because I find it interesting. And then, you know, you kind of go off of of your life experiences, and cause there's all kinds of crap out there about everything, but you go off of your life experiences, that makes sense to me or that doesn't make sense to me, and then at the end, who cares? But I find it interesting because I find that stuff interesting, and, you know, you got all the biases, you got all that, and as you mentioned, you know, memory's not even a DVR. It's really more like repainting the same painting where you got, you know, you're painting a portrait, you got the person in front of you, you're painting it. That's when it's happening real time. And then your memory is that person's not there, and you try to paint them off of memory 2 days, 3 days, a month, a year later, and it doesn't equate because it's not a hard drive. You're not pulling up the same document over and over and just re-looking at it. You're recreating it every single time you remember it. And, you know, it kind of goes like when you're arguing with the wife and she brings up something that, you know, you said 15 years ago, and one, you're a dude, so you don't even remember it because dudes are wired to dump that shit where women are wired to remember it forever. But I will tell you that when you're in an argument with your wife, obviously she's remembering stuff, and then she's recreating that, and she's recreating that memory while she's pissed at you, which means you got all those biases. Memory's bad. She's recreating it, and she's pissed, which means the memory's not even that good because we're adding all the current emotions to it to come up with that. And by the way, just word to the wives, from a man with a lot of experience, when your wife is pissed at you and she's remembering something from 15 years ago and you decide that it's a good idea to explain how memory works to her, not overly helpful in the moment.
I'm guessing you just tried that.
That's it. Just remember that, Ryan. Thanks. Go back, go.
Well, I'll do you one better. I mean, not in terms of marriage or whatever, but just sticking with, you know, the main concept of how bad memory is. How many times do you have to pull that package out of the garbage can to remember what you just read 30 seconds ago? Right? So again, and you know, I phrase it as, you know, it's not for everybody or whatever, but it is. The topic is whether you enjoy it or not is, you know, that's a separate issue, I guess. And I hope you did. But it does pertain to every single fan. Every single fan watches football. Every single fan gets emotional, and every single fan thinks that they can remember exactly what happened, and everything that they're mad about, they have a right to be mad about because they remember and they're angry and all this stuff. And I'm just very sorry to tell you, although I'm not, because playing spoiler to stuff like that is my favorite thing to do in the world. But I'm for argument's sake, very sorry to tell you, you don't remember, and you are wrong, and I can prove that with science. So, sucks to suck, and you don't remember. And like you mentioned the painting thing, forget a couple days later. If you have to, similar to the pulling the package out of the garbage can for the heating instructions 90 times, if you told me, and some people are probably wired a little different, but if you told me I had to like paint or draw something, I would look up. And I would look down at the paper and immediately have to look back up. I don't know, dude. Like, what is I don't remember anything. I don't know what it looks. I don't remember. So again, do I trust your recollection of how good this player is or what? No. So again, as far as like preferences in terms of whether you enjoyed hearing about it or, you know, whatever the case may be, it's not a preference in terms of whether it's true or not. Just so we're clear on that. That is a very real situation that does pertain to everybody. And the vast majority of people that you talk to, that you're going to argue with and everything else, they're going to use their memory. You go on social media or you go to the bar or you go anywhere and you start talking to them about advanced stats, they're going to roll their eyes because they don't like it. They don't want it. They want to just go off of what they remember, and that's stupid, and people need to stop doing that. And again, people are, you know, everyone's wired a little bit differently. Some people don't want to go that route. I don't know what to tell you because, you know, again, you're allowed to do that, but I also know that you're not going to just float around through life going, I don't know, and I don't really care what the truth is. No, you do, and you have a lot of opinions. So I don't know how to rectify that for you to continue having all kinds of opinions, and then like I'm not going to just continue to validate nonsense, like pretend that you're right about everything because you're clearly not. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but I do know that what I said is correct. And that's reality, and I guess that's for you to navigate how that all works out. Uncle Rico, what's going on?
Yo, Brian, it's your Uncle Rico.
What's up?
I want to thank you for finally calling out Hafley. I was not sad to see him go. Rico out.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it just, is one of those things where, again, I was just... watching that one particular video of what happened in that Bears game. And again, there's the narrative, and this is me just kind of using shorthand. The narrative being, just based on how all the games went, it must have just been some unexplainable thing in which we just struggled to do anything, and that's all there was to it. Except maybe that's not what happened. Now, I can't speak about every single game, but maybe each game was different. Maybe each game was the same, and it wasn't just the players gave up or everybody was tired or everybody was injured. Obviously injuries, The good thing about not being injured is you have players that can overcome incompetence that are playing and, not hurt. But maybe there was actual incompetence there. Maybe something was actually going very, very, very wrong. And I don't know every single thing from every single game. But as it was laid out and as I'm watching this and as I'm seeing, the Bears just kind of figured out what the defense was doing and then just started spamming the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And then Hafley had no response. And then the Bears won. That kind of ticked me off a little bit. And it just, again, without knowing 100% what exactly all went on from a play-to-play basis, I know that I have heard almost nobody put any blame on Jeff Hafley. And again, this is because we come in with our priors. Most people that have decided that Matt LaFleur is the problem probably came into the season feeling a little, at least if they didn't already dislike him, felt that, he maybe was, you're a little on the fence about the guy. And Hafley was basically untouchable. He's a super genius, right? He's a super genius defensive guy. Just like Jordan Love. I mean, that's a non-starter. We're not even going to discuss that. He can't be the problem because I've already decided that he can't be the problem. I like him, and so he's not the problem. Which whether it's because I hate him or by default, Matt LaFleur ends up catching a lot of the blame. But again, I don't know, man. Maybe we could at least have a discussion. A little conversation, possibly, about whether or not Jeff Hafley played a role in this. Maybe the complete collapse of the entire defense in at least that game. I don't know how many other games potentially we saw defensive collapses. It feels like pretty much all of them. Offensive too, but a lot of defensive collapses, and I haven't heard a single word about, maybe Hafley didn't do such a bang-up job for the Packers. And again, just thinking back, without, again, doing any kind of a deep dive or anything, I do know that we didn't really reach the levels that we wanted to when we had gotten Micah Parsons. And guys were underperforming based on what they had done the year prior. Again, the complaint was always just, well, Micah's gone, what do you expect? Well, I would expect them to be like they were the year prior when we didn't have Micah. Why can't they just be at that level? I don't know, but we couldn't. And we obviously reached a level that just couldn't be overcome. And it wasn't just the offense. It was in large part the defense and a lot of defensive players like Rashawn Gary. Again, it's easy to just blame Rashawn because he just fell off. But remember what I said? Everybody did. What happened to everybody's pressure and sack numbers? Everybody's fell off. Maybe it's just a coincidence and everybody just decided I want to quit at the exact same time. Or maybe it's something else. I don't know. But nobody, again, really had any interest in exploring that. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan, just calling to wish you a happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
Just wanting to put out my annual public service announcement. Don't be Jason Pierre-Paul and blow off a couple of your digits being stupid. So you guys out there, be responsible. I've had a few calls where I've had to go in, and fortunately it's not been fingers blown off, but it's been usually, eye injuries or burns for somebody who was under the influence and decided they were going to play bottle rocket wars. So be responsible out there, guys. Use fireworks responsibly and do the right thing. Ryan, hopefully you get to eat a lot of pig missiles and burgers and stuff, so don't overdo it.
Nope, just got a package of brats. That's all. Nothing crazy. So we're just going to do some brats on the grill tomorrow, and we don't usually go for the crazy fireworks. It's pretty tame. If one of these goes off in my hand, it's going to sting, but it's not going to blow my hand off. So we'll be all right. Appreciate that, and definitely hope you and everybody else has a good 4th. I didn't mention that on the podcast yesterday because that's from mostly 2 days ago. But let me say it now. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Ryan, how are you?
I'm good.
This is Nico from Idaho. This is a guy in the parking lot looking at me kind of funny.
Because you're talking to yourself.
And I feel like just listen to Sal's little rant on Keishan. It's funny because I'm a little behind on some of the non-Packernet podcasts because I listen to yours first, and then when I run out, I'll listen to other stuff. But Wildy and Tausch talked about him quite a lot, like in the last couple of weeks.
I've noticed.
And Tausch is kind of like, I think on our side, like, dude, you don't tell people you're not going to run punts back and maybe tackle a guy, in a goal stance in the playoffs, I mean, can you imagine if Keishan makes the decision to tackle the dude in the playoffs instead of stepping aside? And what if he pops the ball out? We're not even having this conversation now because of all of his other shortcomings. No one gives a crap about, honestly, because of recency bias, which you just talked about. But the one thing that Sal brought up, it's funny, AI brought it up, and the ex-NFL player and the guy who's been, talking about the Packers for over 30 years, is no one talked about his speech at the end. They just talked about the other things he did, the jumping on the pile, giving teams free first downs. We all remember that. But what made it worse was when he told everyone, and I think I might have called about this on the road, but that's okay. We told everyone afterwards, I'm happy with how I played.
Yeah.
I accomplished my goals. And that's just puts that's like if you smell rotten chicken, you can't eat chicken. I walked into a Church's Chicken one time. Sorry, Church's Chicken in Pensacola. I used to go there all the time. And you could just smell like rotten chicken. And I was so hungry. It was hot as crap. It was August. I ordered the meal just because I'm like, I don't care. Some chicken in the back that's just, nope, it was the chicken they were cooking. I took one bite, almost threw up.
Jeez.
Done. And that's kind of what that does to Keishan's career. Well, our perception of him is like done, So, but I agree with Sal too.
And I will say it does cut both ways, as far as that recency bias thing. The most recent memory of him is missing that tackle, which I didn't watch the full thing. I've seen, or I haven't really watched much of it, but I've seen that Wildy has been kind of going on a warpath with that whole thing, as far as kind of defending him and whatnot. But I did see where he had said he doesn't think he could have made that tackle anyway. It's very possible. I mean, I think it's the optics of kind of more or less jumping out of the way and not even trying is it's a tough sell to just say, well, he wouldn't have done it anyways. Yeah, that's not really the point. But getting to the other side of it, the recency bias kind of takes us away from some of the good, and there was. I have to keep reminding myself what some of the stats were, which are actually quite impressive for Keishan this past year. He did decent. His stats were better than his grades, and his grades were not terrible. But But I mean, as I've said before, I think the corners in general have consistently been hated on more so than is fair. And I would probably be more vocal about that if it wasn't for Keishan's demeanor and his attitude, because, he kind of deserves a little ridicule for that, I think. It's one thing, and I like a cocky corner, but you're cocky on the field. You're cocky talking to the other opponents. You don't come back after a loss and start bragging about how good you are. I mean, Jair was cocky. He didn't come back bragging about what a great game he had after a loss. It's a team thing, and you come back and you are not satisfied and you're upset and you're, even if you're happy with your play, generally you're going to say, I didn't do enough to help us get over the finish line. You take some level of accountability for it. It's stuff like that just, I think, rub people the wrong way. I do think that's bleeding a little bit too much into people's perception of his play, which is better than people want to believe that it is. So again, I don't know exactly what Wildy's contention is, but that would be sort of my contention. I'm not on the get rid of him bandwagon, although I do know that he's kind of a short timer anyways. He's not going to be around here forever. So we're going to need an eventual replacement, but I'm not, this is not like as I've said, a Ladarius Gunter situation. It's just not. This is a significantly better situation than what we had with guys like Kevin King and guys like, again, Gunter and Randall and Rollins and those kinds of things. I mean, that was a horrendous situation and group of situations that we had to go through. This is better than that. We don't have a premier number one, which outside of Jair's brief stint, we've basically not had in over a decade. So it's not really, I don't want to push it so far as to say it's one of the better situations we've had in a while, but it's kind of getting up there outside of, Jair dragging this thing up. So all I would say is try to be fair in the other direction. It's one thing to say, I remember that last play and I don't like his demeanor, but don't let that taint your overall view of Keishan and his abilities, which is not elite, but it's not nearly as bad as the fan base wants to pretend that it is.
I don't hate the guy. I think he can be good if he's, if he's not CB1. A great 2 or 3, I don't know. I just wanted to get that in there. I will call back. I got 15 seconds left, so we're good. I just hope old St. Juice is good, and I hope the CSA guy can be good. I don't expect a whole lot, but we'll see. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, let me just pull it up real quick because I don't even remember. This is, again, the whole memory thing. Me specifically, I don't, some people are good with stats and whatnot. I am not one of those people. So where did he rank? Keishan was 38th overall. So that would make him, as you said, kind of a high-end number 2. If you just look at his coverage grade, he ranked 31st, so low-end number 1. So again, the idea that he's just this pile of garbage, no, he's a low-end number 1, a high-end number 2. And then his statistics, trying to remember, I think it was pass breakups. Yeah, he was tied for the 4th highest amount of pass breakups in the NFL with 13. Only 4 guys, Christian Gonzalez, Cooper DeJean, Kamari Lassiter, and Riley Moss in Denver are the only cornerbacks who had more pass breakups than he did. He also, that's the wrong guy. I will say this, that the touchdowns he gave up were too many. He had the 8th most given up. Similar, Riley Moss was another one, gave up a bunch. Those are actually very similar. Him and Riley, if anybody cares or knows who Riley Moss is, very, very similar grades overall and in coverage. Keishan was better. Both gave up 7 touchdowns. Both had 1 pick. Moss had 15 pass breakups. Keishan had 13. So if you know who that is, that's a good comp. Otherwise, Emmanuel Forbes in LA is another very close. But again, most people don't care about pass breakups. They care about interceptions, and he only had one. So you got a corner with a big mouth. He only had one pick, and he missed a tackle. So that's kind of the whole picture for Keishan. And again, I don't think that that's a fair picture. He's a low-end number one, high-end number two. It's an okay situation if he's your number one. It's kind of It's a great situation if he's your number two. So this is one of those, like, if Cisse can come in and be awesome, or if Valentine can kind of get back to what he was. Let me look at 2024 real quick. I think 2024. I don't think it was over that long when Valentine was a solid corner. Yeah, well, he had a 71 grade. I guess there were just a lot of better corners. 71 coverage, which was 26th. And then his overall grade was, man, we had Jair up there. That's crazy. 2024, Jair was a top 10 corner. It feels like 10 years ago. Yeah, I guess it was last year. It was his 1 year up in the 70s as the coverage grade. So I don't know. Yeah, it probably won't be Carrington. Carrington's also kind of in that, again, without a bounce back, probably a solid number two. So if Cisse comes in and is a solid number one, then we've got a number one in Cisse, we've got a high number two in Keishan, and a high number three in Valentine. Bullard obviously being the slot guy, but I'm just saying the boundary guys 1, 2, 3. That's a really good situation to have. But, that requires Cisse to come in and be that dude. Beer Cheese, what's going on, man?
Hey, Ryan. Beer Cheese Benny here.
What's up, dude?
Just calling in because I had an idea for the podcast. I think it would be cool is if, it's the off season here, if we did if people could call in with their favorite plays of all time.
Sure.
And we can compile it and you can make a video of those highlights or whatever. I don't know how hard that would be for you. But I think that'd just be kind of cool, everybody's different ones. Or you could just put it together, whatever your favorite plays of all time are, Packers plays. I don't know, I have a few in mind. I'm not really going to sit here and name them because I could go on and on about that. I mean, I think about, the touchdown that Rodgers threw to Devontae that went, right through the defenders against the Eagles or a touchdown. I think it was, the relax run. And then I think about Donald Driver, that game where against the 49ers, we were in the throwbacks, and he, freaking just, got through a bunch of defenders and, got all the way down and scored a touchdown. Or Clay Matthews causing that fumble in the Super Bowl. But anyways, I thought that would be cool. But I think also what would be cool is, during the season, we kind of keep track of plays and, have our top plays. When people call in after the games, they'll be this is, a top play, this deserves, a nomination for a top 10 player of the year. Or something at the end of the year, we can have, a video of, back in its top plays. Something like that. I don't know. It's just an idea, man. Hope you guys are all doing good. Happy 4th, by the way. America is the best land. I don't care what anyone says. America's the best country. And you can suck it if you don't think so. Leave if you don't.
I was just going to say you're going to break into this land is your land, and then he drops a suck it, so I guess not.
I think so. We have a lot of great rights that people don't even realize, man. And people take it for granted. And, shout out to all of our military and first responders too. That really help America, man, and help our freedoms and help our safety. And I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful for this podcast. I'm grateful for this country, and just grateful for this life. And y'all should be too. Praise God. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, I've learned how much we take it for granted during this whole World Cup thing, watching mostly Europeans, but everybody come over here. And I just didn't realize how much everybody else's life sucked. I mean, they are, like I said, I didn't even realize, first of all, the whole air conditioning thing. I had no idea. People just didn't have air conditioning. And it's not because they're in a third world country. I guess they just decided, for the environment, they're not going to have air conditioning. well done. So I guess you fixed the environment. Great job. Anywho, they're all currently suffering serious consequences for that. But they're going to freaking IHOP and they're like, "This is the best pancakes I've ever had." Like, what are you talking about, stupid? Those things, they're not even that good. I mean, I'll do some. I'm no disrespect to IHOP, but bro, what are you talking about? They're going to our fast food joints like I've never had anything this good. What do you do? And then there's people that like they'll go back to the UK and they're like, dude, it's so miserable over here. Like all people do is they like go to the bar and they drink, and then they talk about soccer and it's just soccer in the bar and soccer in the bar. I'm like, well, it kind of sounds like Wisconsin a little bit, but like they're like it's so depressing and everybody's so mean over here. And it's like I thought you guys said the people in the US were mean. You guys are mean. So you guys are a bunch of jerks that are mean to each other, and then you just sit over there and talk about how we're mean. What are you talking about, dummy? So that whole thing is stupid. By the way, also hilarious. The other thing that we're told, America doesn't have any food. Really? We don't have any of our own food? Then why is it you come over here and eat all our food and say this is the greatest thing you've ever had? I thought we just stole all your stuff. That's weird. I thought you already had this. How is this the best food you've ever had when we don't even have our own food? We just steal all your crap. That's so weird to me. I guess I didn't know that. Granted, I didn't see like Italians say this is the best pizza I ever had, but yeah, to sit over there and mock our culinaries while you guys are talking about frickin' just trash food as though it's the greatest thing you've ever had. I don't know. I don't know what the heck. I guess I learned I don't actually need to travel. I have no desire to travel. It has been such a massive turnoff for me. A surge in pride to be an American over these last weeks, months, and my desire to travel has crashed to about zero. I have no desire to go someplace where they eat like a fast food burger and they're like, it's the best burger I've ever eaten. Nope. I'm never going to a country where freaking the Australian girl who came over here and said that Olive Garden was the best Italian food she's ever had. I'm not going there. I'm not. What do you eat there? I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Never. Saw somebody else, they all brag about free refills, which is insane to me. But also somebody was like, and you don't have to pay to use the bathroom. What? I'm sorry. So air conditioning, liquids, not paying to use the bathroom, and basic food is what you get excited about here. Do you all live in the Congo? Like, I'm not leaving, and no more lectures will be had. I'm sorry. You will never lecture anything we do ever again. You go over there, drink a pint of something, and eat some beans and be quiet. Go make yourself a Vegemite sandwich and leave me alone. I kind of thought we were all on a similar tier. Apparently, it ain't close. Take a break. We'll be right back.
Yo, Brian, it's your uncle, Rico.
What up?
I hate to cause problems for the podcast for you or undermine it in any way, but, I know Chris is starting his podcast, and, a guy can only listen to so many podcasts, but I'm not listening to you or Chris anymore because I'm listening to On the Road with Nico. But Nico, you got to do a video type of podcast thingy where your camera waves around and shows you all the things, the weeds out the hood, and oh my God, look at that house. I didn't see the house, Nico. Yeah, On the Road with Nico. I'm a subscriber. All right, then. Everybody have a great 4th of July. Don't lose any digits. Not any main digits, anyway. Have a great weekend. America!
America. Is that a real thing? Is that a real podcast? Yeah, I like I said, it is to my detriment to be promoting everybody else to go. You guys should all go do a podcast, and we'll all just listen to each other. Maybe if like 5,000 people started a podcast and we all listen to 5,000 podcasts, then we'll all be full-time podcasters. So that could be a thing that we do. Why not? Looking to see if Chris has called back. I don't see anything, so it doesn't appear to have launched yet, but I'm sure we'll hear something soon. Yo.
Just listening to Andy's suggestion on the draft, what I was thinking just as like an additional kind of just thought on that would be, let's assume that you're slotted into whatever specific positions you are, and you have a total pool of money. Let's say you have, I don't know, some teams that have higher picks are going to have more money than people with lower picks, but the total amount of money that comes out, each team has a budget. Excuse me. And what they can do is, if you really want, I don't know, the number one player in the draft, then you can say, we're offering basically our entire boatload of everything we have for this one player, but then you do not get any other players. So it's almost like a budgeting tool,
sure,
where you can decide how much to allocate. You have a total pool of money that you can allocate for something. And if you do take that number one pick with all your money, you can jump up money-wise. Just, I guess it would be kind of the same as just trading picks to move up into spaces. But I think probably the concept would be more just it becomes monetary as opposed to like pick value, where you start doing the chart, you start figuring out like what each position is worth. This time it would be like a total amount of money pool, I guess, is maybe what is the change that might happen. And if you want to throw all your eggs into one basket, you can, but then you don't get any other players kind of thing. Maybe that's what Andy meant. I don't know, but it would be interesting. I don't think it would work, but interesting to talk about. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would further... That would even be tougher than apparently the thing I made up off the top of my head. Now you got me thinking about how that could be like a fun mock drafting tool, though. You know what I mean? Like, what if this wasn't real, but what if we just like made it like a mock draft that way? That could be kind of fun. Compete against other people or against 31 AI teams just bidding on players based on all that stuff. Could be kind of fun. I don't know. It's definitely fun to think about in terms of, what would the Packers do and what could the Packers do and what would the strategy be? Because obviously now you have to rethink everything. It's fun to think about, if nothing else. Rich in Texas, what's going on?
Hey, Ryan, it's Rich in Texas. Just listening to this call about possibly moving President's Day or moving the Super Bowl to President's Day. And I'm just going to get pedantic here for a minute and point out that there is no such holiday as President's Day. And the holiday is, in fact, George Washington's birthday. And that is because George Washington is the only president that I would hope that we as a country and political populace can universally revere. I know there are certainly presidents on the other side of the aisle from me, and I won't say what side of the political spectrum I fall on. I don't think that's important. But I think all of us, regardless of side, can say there are certain presidents we have absolutely no desire to celebrate whatsoever and shouldn't be celebrated. And we all have our opinions on who those would be, but I would hope that we can all universally acknowledge that George Washington, a man who turned down a kingship and set a precedent that he would serve, that a president should serve no more than 2 consecutive terms. It could have, the man could have been a king, could have been president for life, could have taken all the power, and he turned that down. I think that is a man worthy of celebration. And I think calling the holiday President's Day cheapens his memory, and it also just is factually incorrect. Look it up. congressional record, et cetera, look on the federal calendar. The holiday is George Washington's birthday. It is not President's Day. Sorry, didn't mean to derail everything. I just get touchy on that one. And I think too many people forget George Washington because it's President's Day. No, it is not. Thank you. Don't mean to cause a ruckus. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.
No, I think that's, I never really, I want to say I didn't care to, but if you don't know, you don't really have any reason to look it up. You don't have any reason to be suspicious about something. Like, I don't think that's true. I'm going to look that up. But appreciate you setting the record straight on that. It was always a weird holiday because I remember, like, in elementary school, it was, I don't know, it's just one of those, like, rumors that you hear, or if it's what teachers told you or something, I don't know. But I knew it had something to do with George Washington, but I thought it had something to do with other presidents too. Like, it was like President's Day, but also it's like George Washington and something. I don't know. I don't know. Never really, I guess, thought to dig into that one. A lot of things to know. Appreciate you teaching us something there. And I agree. I hadn't really considered it, but I think that's a fair point. I think after George Washington, we start fighting. It's fair game to be like, well, that guy was a jagoff and that guy's an idiot and I like him, but I don't like him. But it starts after George Washington, who wasn't even in a political party. So he's not even in a party. He's just a dude that kicked this whole thing off. I think that's one we should all claim. Good call on that. All right, Uncle Rico, go ahead.
Yo, Ryan, it's your mom. You're me who it's your Uncle Rico. I know, man.
Not my mom.
I want to apologize to the Brian and the Packer Netters because I don't format my calls very well because I'm just not good with that. I mean, most times when I call, I get off the phone and I think, oh, I forgot this or I forgot that or I completely said that wrong. But hey, give me a break, guys. I have an IQ of 7. Okay, so, but I'm a Packer fan, so you must endure. Anyways, so I've been thinking a little bit about Jordan Love gets no love and Caleb Williams gets love. Not our love, but gets love. Anyways, I think it's just the comparisons aren't made very much between NFL quarterbacks in one's mind, apparently. Like in a fan's mind, a Bears fan's mind, or a Packer fan's mind, or maybe an NFL fan's mind, or whatever. Jordan Love is compared to Aaron Rodgers, first and foremost, and then Brett Favre, I suppose. And Caleb Williams is compared to the other Bears quarterbacks, right? So does that make sense?
Well, no, and that's literally true. That's the advantage or the example that I brought up whenever it was that guy who was talking about how he's literally a record-breaking quarterback. What record, you stupid idiot? What are you talking about? Now, I think that's stupid. I don't care about how he compares to other, but this is what's apparently some people do grade on a curve this way. I have no idea why people would. I think it's absurd that anybody would grade on a curve, but apparently that is what we're doing. Now, the good news for us is we don't have to tolerate that. We don't have to accept that as being reasonable or rational, and people are going to do that. They're just going to get made fun of. But you're right. I think that whether it's conscious or subconscious, that is the reality. And I think there is sort of a feeling of, oh, come on, guys, let him have this one. Oh, come on, guys. It's almost like they're cheering for him to be good for the poor bear. Screw them. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Caleb is not going to be called something that he's not because Bears fans haven't had one yet. And Jordan is not going to be talked down to because our previous quarterback was an all-time great. This is stupid. This is freaking stupid. Use your damn brain for a second. I'm asking a simple question. How good is this guy and how good is this guy? Why do we have to be so stupid about everything? Well, maybe we just... You're overcomplicating this. You're overcomplicating this. Forget everybody else. Forget all the other quarterbacks. Forget all the other context. How good is he? It's simple.
That's why Caleb Williams is so enamored, because he's doing so much better than the other loser turd. He's the best loser. The best loser. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's out of all the losers,
he's the best.
The one who is the least loserist. And then Jordan, he's got an uphill battle. So it is what it is, right? So like Dak Prescott, is he compared against the great the quarterbacks, maybe not great, the quarterbacks of the recent past for the Cowboys, or, like Troy Aikman or whatever, is he compared to him? Out in Denver, is he compared to John Elway or just the more recent quarterbacks? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it seems like the Bears are just so happy to have somebody, and so many Packer fans have still not gotten over Brett Favre, let alone Aaron Rodgers. So it's hard for Jordan Love to win the hearts, if that makes any sense to me. It kind of makes sense to me.
Well, unfortunately, it does.
All right, then, guys. Go Pack, go. Happy 4th.
It shouldn't make sense because it's stupid. But I think in large part you're right. There are some people who just, they grade on a curve because they don't know any better. It's just how their brain works. There's some people that grade on a curve because they're all touchy-feely about it, rooting for the little guy, the Bears and the little, it's stupid. The whole thing is dumb. Knock it off. I don't care that they haven't been good for a long time. I don't care that they've never had a good quarterback. I don't care. I'm asking a simple question, and I'm not going to sit here and be gaslit by people who are choosing to be stupid rather than just answering the question correctly. It's just annoying. So knock it off, please. Brucey, what's going on?
Andy. We'll get to Andy. But I think the first thing is, I think I have a nickname for Garrett. I think it's going to be Garrett the producer from now on. Garrett, you should just call in as Garrett the producer.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, Andy, I think it's your fault that Ryan doesn't want to meet any of us. Or if he does, what are you doing? You're calling him out on being an introvert. Sweaty. I just picture, literally, basically, Ryan's Big Sal in the corner,
right,
sweating, all angry.
Oh, the picture that I had in my mind of myself, it didn't look like me. It didn't, it was just the most awkward. It was like him sitting there. We were both just staring at the wall. Poor guy's just trying to have a conversation, and I'm just snorting wing dust, getting all sweaty, and it was, I was uncomfortable just being near myself.
He's just chomping on some wings, sweating, not talking, just kind of looking up, grunting. Anyways, that's funny.
Oh, it wasn't, though.
On that note, so Ryan, if you and I were to meet up, how would that go?
Apparently horribly.
All right, bye.
Apparently it would be a disaster. I've learned that. I thought it would have been okay. I would have said, it is what it is. But I that's the other thing about the whole introvert thing is I think the main definition of extroversion versus introversion is that extroverts gain energy from people. You go to a social gathering and they feed off it and it energizes them, and introverts, it drains energy. So the bottom line is I can do it for short spurts, but over a long period, depending on what we're doing, if we're sitting around talking football, watching a game, freaking watching a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, we'll be all right. But you know what I mean? Like we're going out, and I feel this tension to like put on a show or like host you or something. I'm only going to be able to do that for a certain period of time. So it would go downhill pretty quickly. But no, just throw that all out, because apparently, what is that? I know there's been numerous movies that are like that, where they kind of like show the two clips, and on one hand is like, you know, what the person thinks they look like, and they're all cool and everything. And then it switches to the other camera view, and like their singing is awful, and they're all dressed all stupid. Shallow Hal is the only one I'm thinking of, which is different, but it's kind of like that, you know? Shallow Hal, but like in reverse. I'm picturing like this great meetup, and it's like, what's up, man? How you do? Oh, yeah, I really appreciate it, dude. And it's a friendly get-together, and we're having a great conversation. We're laughing and joking and mutually eating wings and enjoying them and not sweating that much. Either of us is not really sweating a ton. Maybe a little sweat each, but nothing crazy. That freaking song. I laughed so hard on that one verse from that song where it said something like, nobody's forehead has ever worked that hard for me. Oh, boy. Yeah, just if you ever aspired to meet me one day, just go ahead and kill that. Number one, because you've learned it would be horrible. And number two, because I have learned to never meet with anybody ever again. Not just people that listen to the podcast, just in general. I don't think I'm ever going to leave the house ever again. So glad we've cleared that up. I'm picturing myself now going to the grocery store. I'm like thinking back, like, were people running away from me, or like, was I sweating when I was trying to get the loaf of bread off the shelf? Was I breathing heavy? Just everybody's staring at me. Look at that guy. Why is he breathing? Why is he wheezing like that and sweating? He stinks. Oh, jeez. Never felt lower about myself. I'm kidding, Andy. We're good. I'm just I thought it was funny, so I'm riffing here, all right? But yeah, how would that go? It would not go well. So we'll just leave it at that. Speaking of, we should probably get out of here. I will appreciate all the calls, by the way. I know I don't want to give Andy a hard time or anything. I begged you guys for calls, so I'm not gonna give you too hard of a time if your call is one that I don't super appreciate, but I appreciate all the calls to some degree. So please keep them coming. If you have ever met me and have an anecdote, just don't call about that one. It's fine. I'll just take the day off. It's not a big deal. I remember watching this live stream once, and he just started sweating. It was weird. The more he talked, talking makes him sweat. Just picturing like my 1,000-pound life or something like that, or whatever that's called, 800-pound life. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Keep the calls coming. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Oh, have a great 4th of July, by the way. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.